Sierra Foothills is in Yosemite National Park, and it was a place where animals used to live, harmony, everything was all good until 2013, a forest fire hit. And this was considered to be the third largest forest fire that had ever hit California. It was called the Rim Fire. The remaining wildlife was spread out into disarray, not sure where to go. Fortunately, we were able to have the Yosemite Park Rangers slowly and gradually convert the animals into a place called Ackerman Meadows. Now, this is a lush green place where animals now came to find a new home. It was well looked after, it was well prepared for, and we were fortunate to have a place where all those animals can now find a new home. Unfortunately, this isn't always the case. Incidents like this, forest fires or pollution often strike, but there isn't always a plan or something set in place. So, I have been searching many sources to try to find out why it is so important to preserve land, to conserve land, to keep it safe. And so I wanted to share a bit of that with you all today. So, why is conserving nature so important? You see, nature is kind of a delicate thing. According to the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, wildlife relies on balance. And humans aren't exactly what was in mind when nature decided to come up with balance. Humans don't realize how big of an impact that they really have. If they go to somewhere like Yosemite Park or a public park, they may bring garbage, they may set up a campfire, but not really be planned on how to clean it up later. This doesn't really seem like that big of a problem until you realize the bigger aspect to it. We're leaving behind something that wasn't intentionally supposed to be there, and that's where the problem occurs. Now, for example, humans, many years ago, used to get rid of wetlands. And wetlands were considered to be wet, useless parts where there weren't really any nature or any signs of life, so humans came to the conclusion that most likely this place was useless. So they got rid of those type of nature biomes. And the problem with that is that there were small animals there. There were insects, there were frogs, and with the destruction of their new home, they needed somewhere else to be. And that's kind of where the problem came in. They invaded other areas and pushed out their nature balance, ate insects, ate vegetation, and it confused the whole system, and there have been instances like that reported. Now, I think it's pretty clear to us that we shouldn't destroy nature biomes. Luckily, that's less common now. It is still a problem, and there needs to be some kind of solution as to how do we protect those kinds of lands so we don't destroy them. But we'll get into that a bit more later. Let's go on to explain some of the other threats that we can cause to nature. One of them being simple litter. Now, littering is a problem, and it's something that people can sometimes see every single day. Catherine Irving wrote for Sciencing.com that garbage in soil lasts a long time. Sometimes it can stay there indefinitely depending on what kind of waste it is, but leaving plastic can have multiple bad effects. Like I said, it's plastic, it can stay there for a long time. If an animal were to come across it, they may get themselves tangled or locked in. It's something that we should really pay attention to. One of the biggest concerns with plastics is the use of straws. And so that's why it's always a good idea to cut down on the use of straws. Other types of waste can just be garbage, landfill spilling out, or we leaving a wrapper on the floor. These kind of things can soak into the soil and they can last there for a long time, but they can also be poisonous to the nature around it. Vegetation isn't used to any of these types of foreign objects, so when they have them, it can often act as a type of poison, being very dangerous, killing off the plants, causing the animals to not have enough food, and then causing a chain reaction. Like I said, nature is a balance. If you tip one side to the other, it'll cause the other side to rock up, but you want it to be here, and it's our job to be the hand that guides it up and puts it even. Because if we set the world out of balance, nobody else is really going to come up and be able to fix it. Now, there are other reasons as to why we'd want to fix the environment besides just keeping the ground safe and clean, and that is, it really does help out big on communities, and it really does satisfy some of the feelings that we have for a really good community. A strong environment is the perfect place to have a park or a picnic or a cultural event where people can hike and do all these types of fun sports. People are really proud about those kinds of things. They really revel in the fact that they have a clean community. But communities don't stay clean by themselves. People have to make sure that they are the ones to keep them clean. And when it's clean and people are working together to make sure that they're donating time and donating money to make sure that it's safe, people are proud of that. People really do want to contribute to the bigger picture. And even something small as your hometown, I feel like, is worth working towards. Now, I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine your hometown where you used to grow up in, and maybe you had a favorite park. I want you to think of that park and think about what it would be like to walk across that park today and realize that it was empty and there was garbage laying around and yellow grass. This is an interesting thing to think about because it kind of gives you many implications. It would leave you feeling as if the world forgot about it or no longer cared about it, didn't think it was important enough. Now, imagine Yosemite Park. Imagine that fire occurring and there being no place like Ackerman Meadow. There wasn't a place that was kept clean. There weren't enough park rangers to make sure they could maintain it. What would that mean for the animals that used to live there? It would cause a giant problem that honestly would not have a solution. There is nothing really you can do about certain situations. The best we can try to do is to make sure that we are reactive less and preactive more. That really should be one of the bigger priorities that we have. Now, there are a lot of things that we can do, however, to step in and to make sure that incidents like this don't occur. And the one I want to talk about today is the Trust for Public Land. And what this is, it's a charity that you can donate to not only keep nature safe, but also make sure that bigger corporations aren't buying out these types of lands so that they can destroy them like the wetlands earlier. Donating money to them is great. They also take some time, charity, for you to go out there and work. But the choice is up to you. I would really encourage something like this. But if this isn't something up your alley, I would recommend looking into your local community and seeing what kind of things that your community is doing, whether it is picking up garbage on the side of the street, making sure that your forests are clean. Anything like that goes a long way. It really does help when you clean your own community. It makes you feel good, and it really does put into realization that this world needs our help, and it's our job to do it. And so I hope that you can protect the world so that the world can protect you. Thank you.